Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. It's a little dark in here, so I apologize. I've been waiting 2 days to film this video and I just have to film it at this point because it won't stop raining. And when it rains in here, this is still the brightest room in the house and it's super dark. So yeah, I do apologize for that, but we're just gonna film it anyway. I do feel really bad for Nutmeg because the highlight of his day is going outside with me in the morning, and for 2 days he has not been able to go outside because it's been raining. We've just been sitting on the porch for like 15-20 minutes every morning, and he just kind of stares longingly at the garden. So I feel really bad for him. I do hope it lets up soon because we have gotten quite a lot of rain, which we needed. We needed the first day, but I don't think we need any more after this. So hopefully we get a little bit of a break and then maybe it'll rain next week or something, but I don't think that's how that works because in Texas, when it rains, it pours for days. So without further ado, we're gonna put Nutmeg aside because these are my 5 favorite plants for the month of October. And a lot of people I know do spooky plants around this time, try to highlight goth plants, things like that. But I don't really have a lot of those kinds of plants in my collection right now. And a lot of those plants are really niche. Some of them are hard to find. So instead of just talking about plants that I don't own and I probably will never own, especially that like spooky begonia, I'm just gonna talk about plants that I like in my collection. And it was a little bit difficult this month because I didn't spend a ton of time with my houseplants. My garden is really kicking into high gear for the fall season right now. And I had some pest issues in here, so it just wasn't a positive experience this month with the houseplants. And I'm really gonna try and turn it around with this video and talk about some houseplants that I really love. So I think the first one will be one with a beautiful new leaf. So I'm gonna put him aside. And the first plant is going to be this absolutely gorgeous babe right here. This is my Monstera constellation. This is from the old stock of the TC ties. I mean, they're all TC, but this is from a plant that was from the 2018 stock. So here is the new leaf, a little bit of a better look at it. And it has its first little double fenestration right there. It is so cute. I'm hoping it'll still size up and be bigger than this leaf, but it might not because it is the first new leaf in my care. So it might not happen. It might just be this size, and that's totally okay too. It's gonna grow a little bit slower than my baby tie, but again, I don't really mind because it's absolutely gorgeous. It rooted really well in here. But unfortunately, this is a plastic cup and it's pretty flimsy. So I do want to get it like a nice tall, a nice tall glass one so it won't be knocked over so easily. But oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Look at that. Unbelievable. I love this plant. I got this one from Black Cat Gardener Shop over the summer and it rooted really quickly. It just took a very long time to give me this new leaf. I think I got it at the end of June. And it's now the end of October. So that's quite a few months in between. It was well worth the wait in my opinion, and that's why this is one of my favorites this month. The next plant for my 5 favorites this month is going to be the only Hoya on this list. Hoyas have been giving me a little bit of problems lately. I still love them so much, but I don't understand why the mealybugs just won't leave. But this one doesn't have any problems, so that's why I'm gonna highlight it, and that is my Hoya lacanosa Asami. I absolutely love this plant. It doesn't have the highest variegation, except for this leaf back here. That one's got a good deal of variegation there, but I still love it. It's a really easygoing lacanosa. I always say I love to collect lacanosa like their Pokemon, and this is why. This is just such a nice, unique little Hoya. And it's on a little bit of a growth spurt lately, which makes me really happy with it. It's got 2 new leaves coming out. I love how some of the leaves are a little bit more rounded, some are more elongated, but they all seem to have a little bit of that outer margin of variegation. And that is what I prefer in terms of inner versus outer variegation. This is what I like. I also prefer elbow variegation to Aurea, which is what this has. So it's the best of both worlds for me. And I'll show y'all again really quick. It is so cute. It has been very easygoing. It was a little bit slow to start in terms of rooting, in terms of starting to grow, which is very unlike lacanosa in my experience. So might be a little bit slower, but nonetheless, it was worth the wait. I think it is doing really well. And I'm hoping it'll start branching out and having sort of like other shoots soon. Otherwise I might have to cut it to make it a fuller plant, but I'm really happy with it so far. So that's why it's one of my favorites this month. The next plant on my list, I don't really have too many care tips for it. I'm just gonna share a little bit of my experience because it is the newest plant in my collection, and that is the one I got in Hawaii. This is the Campharia elegans. It has the cutest little purple blooms. I absolutely love it. It only blooms for a day, but oh, they are so, so cute. If you follow me on Instagram, I recently posted a photo of the bloom, but I do want to show, if I can show you without soil getting everywhere. If you see that right here in the pot, this is like a dead bloom. Here we go. So this little green, that's better. There's the dead flowers out. This is a new leaf shooting out, so I'm very excited about this. This is a species of tropical ginger, though it does look like a calathea. I thought it was a calathea when I first saw it, but it's not. And it's so cool. I love the pattern on the leaves. It reminds me of a peacock almost. It's just so stunning, so unique. I do not have a single plant like this in my collection, and it does kind of have this dormancy season, which is supposed to be in the winter. But when I purchased this plant, they said they got it from Indonesia or Thailand, I think. So it is on Southern Hemisphere time because they had only had it for a few months. It is on a Southern Hemisphere sort of dormancy cycle. So this plant thinks that it's going into its summer growing season right now, which is why it's blooming, why it's shooting out new leaves. So it may go dormant for me in the summer next year, unless it kind of switches things around and realizes that it's in the Northern Hemisphere now. But I just think it's so cool either way. I'm not gonna panic when it goes into dormancy since I know what that is and what to expect. But if you can get your hands on this plant, I mean, it's gorgeous. So highly recommend it. But again, this is my Campharia elegans. Alrighty, so the next plant on this list is one that you would have seen before. I'm absolutely in love with this plant. There is no bones about that. It is what really got me falling in love with anthurium, and that is going to be the Anthurium boraquianum. And this beauty right here is the new leaf. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is bigger than the last new leaf, which is nice. We're sizing up a little bit, and it's been very forgiving with my underwatering. I mean, we've got a little bit of browning on the older leaves. It did lose some leaves when I underwatered it, but other than that, it is super forgiving. I don't really do much to it. I don't repot it unless it is really root bound. I've only had to repot it once so far, and it's been growing steadily ever since. It's just such an elegant looking plant. I really prefer it to the Pallidifolium, though I would like to own one of those one day. I just think that the leaf shape on this one is so much better. It's so much more striking. And I do also love the dark form of this plant. I haven't seen one in person yet to purchase, but if I could find a dark form, I would absolutely love that. But yeah, this plant has been so easy, so forgiving, and I have really enjoyed having it in my collection. I'm really hoping that now that I'm keeping up with its care a little bit better, it'll grow a little bit faster. I do think it's about due for more fertilizer. I think, yeah, November is coming up on 6 months since I've done fertilizer. So every single plant in my collection will be getting that soon, and that'll help give it a little bit of boost in its growth as well. But that is my Anthurium boraquianum. Finally, there is one last plant for my 5 favorite plants for the month of October. And of course, you know, it's gotta be a big plant because this year has all been about big plants for me. I'm obsessed with them now. Last year was tiny plants, and this year I just want the biggest, most luxurious plants possible. And this plant is quickly becoming one of those. And that is going to be my Monstera siltspicana El Salvador. So you would have seen that I got this plant just a few months ago from Tillery Street Plant Company in South Austin. And it was just a little cutting, basically, like a little rooted cutting or 3 little rooted cuttings in a pot. And it wasn't climbing, it wasn't doing anything yet. I think each little cutting had 2 leaves on it, so 6 leaves total. And as you can see, it has probably tripled that, and it has grown all the way to the top of this pole, and all 3 strands are growing. The one at the bottom here is not growing the fastest. It's only got a few leaves on it right now, But the two that are climbing are growing so fast, and I do believe that's because they are rooted into this moss pole here. Don't know if can't really see the roots, but I do know they're rooted in there because they passed the tug test. I do have to keep kind of helping the top with some plant Velcro, but this plant grows like an absolute weed, and I was not expecting that whatsoever because my regular Siltepecana is so unhappy and doesn't grow at all. But I'm telling you guys, it's the moss poles. Moss poles, I swear by them now. They are the key to getting beautiful, big leaves, healthy, happy plants that grow so fast. I think I've had this plant for 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 months, and it's just going insane. These leaves you can also see are sizing up really nicely too. They're getting to be about the size of my hand almost. And this plant does fenestrate. That's one of the coolest things I think about this plant. Even though it has the most beautiful striking leaves, it'll fenestrate just like an Epipremnum Cebu Blue would. It'll start to get the little holes in the center, and then the leaves will split themselves. So I am so looking forward to that. I'm hoping by next year, maybe we'll set that as a goal to get some fenestrations on this. For now, what I need to do to help it out is give it a pole extension since it is reaching the top of the pole with this new leaf here. But I'm gonna show you really quick just how gorgeous this plant is. Just absolutely stunning. I do not have enough good things to say about this plant. I feel like I could ramble about it all day because it's just perfect, and it has exceeded my expectations immensely. I really did not expect much from this plant because it's been hard to find, so I thought that maybe it grows really slowly, but no, it's a weed. It's an absolute weed. It's thriving in just like the regular room humidity that I have here. In Texas really isn't that humid where I live in Central Texas. I just kind of have it on the floor because I ran out of room for it, and it's just doing so well. It does get the light from my window, which is normally much brighter than this, for about 6 or 7 hours in the morning. Direct sunlight comes in, and then it gets the nice kind of ambient light all day, and it's just so happy. So that is why I saved it for last with my 5 favorite plants this month. I feel like it is kind of the showstopper here. So that is my Monstera Siltepecana El Salvador. So that is it for my 5 favorite houseplants for the month of October, and a little bit about how they're doing, how they're growing here with me. It's kind of more of like an update than care tips this time, but I hope you enjoyed it, something a little bit different, I guess. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from me and Nutmeg here on the channel. Thanks again, and we will catch you in the next one.